Some people love loudly, others love quietly, and hope it's enough. But what happens when the person you loved is gone, and all that's left are the words you never said out loud? This is not a story about grand romance. It's a story about quiet love, about the things we assume are understood, and about what remains. When silence becomes permanent, Thomas learned how to love. Long before he understood what love was, he grew up in a house where affection was never announced. There were no long conversations about feelings, no dramatic expressions of care. Instead, love showed itself in routine. Dinner was always on the table at the same time every evening. Broken doors were fixed before anyone asked. Lights were left on in the hallway at night, just in case someone needed them. His parents rarely said the words, but they were always there. And so Thomas learned early on that love was something you did, not something you spoke. As a child, he noticed other families, how some people hugged longer, laughed louder, said I love you without hesitation. It always felt foreign to him, almost unnecessary. To Thomas, love was reliability. It was staying. It was showing up again and again, even when no one was watching. And he carried that belief quietly into adulthood. When Thomas met Evelyn, it wasn't dramatic. There was no instant certainty, no overwhelming moment. Their connection grew slowly, like something natural finding its place. Evelyn noticed Thomas's silence, but she didn't mistake it for distance. She saw how he remembered small things, how she took her coffee, which book she was reading, how he listened even when he said very little. She understood that his love lived in attention, in presence, in consistency. And for a long time, that felt like enough. Their life together was gentle. Morning coffee shared at the same table, handwritten grocery lists left on the counter, long walks where conversation faded and silence felt comfortable.
Glad we came.
They built a life not on big moments, but on steady ones. Thomas assumed Evelyn knew how much he loved her. After all, he was always there. He never imagined that something so constant could ever feel fragile.
It really is.
Life moved forward quietly.
Me too.
The days blended into years. Nothing felt urgent. Until one day, it did. The house
This one's
changed.
Great.
Not all at once, not
This is kinda
dramatically,
nice.
just quietly. The routines stopped. The familiar sounds disappeared. And the silence that once
And they
felt
lived happily
peaceful
ever after.
became
I love that
heavy.
story.
Me too.
Thomas found himself alone, in a home full of memories, but no voice. At first, he filled the time. He cleaned things that were already clean, fixed things that weren't broken, kept himself busy to avoid noticing. How loud the quiet had become. Every room carried reminders, not painful ones, just gentle ones. A mug left in the same spot, a book folded open mid-page, a chair that suddenly felt too empty. One afternoon, while sorting through a drawer, Thomas found something unexpected. A small note written in Evelyn's handwriting. It wasn't dramatic. It didn't explain anything. It didn't ask for anything. It simply said she loved him. He sat with that note for a long time. It felt warm and heavy. That note was the beginning. After that, he started noticing more. A letter tucked into a book she knew he liked. A short recording saved on an old device, meant for an ordinary day, not a goodbye. Small traces of Evelyn's love, left behind without expectation. And slowly, something shifted inside him. Thomas began to realize something he had never fully understood before. Love can be deeply felt, and still remain unheard. Evelyn had known he loved her, but she had also waited. Not for grand declarations, just for words. Simple ones, honest ones. Words he always believed weren't necessary. With each discovery, the weight of his silence grew clearer. Not as guilt, not as punishment, but as understanding. Some love lingers because it was strong. Other love lingers because it was never fully spoken. And Thomas began to see that both can be true at the same time. Slowly, he started reconnecting with the world around him. Not dramatically, not all at once, in small ways. A conversation held a little longer, a thank you spoken more deliberately, an I appreciate you that once would have stayed unspoken. He noticed how people responded not with shock, but with warmth. As if those words had always been waiting to be heard. Thomas
This
learned that
is my
expressing
favorite spot.
love
I can see
didn't
why.
require
It's
perfection.
perfect.
We should
It
do this
didn't
more
need
often.
poetry. It didn't need the right moment. It only needed honesty and courage. He began speaking the words he once thought were understood. Not because silence was wrong, but because love deserved a voice. With every word spoken, the house felt a little less quiet. The memories softened. The regret loosened its grip. If love could speak, it wouldn't shout. It wouldn't demand attention. It would whisper, in routines, in small gestures, in moments we often overlook, asking us not to assume, not to wait, not to believe that time is guaranteed. Because love doesn't need to be loud, but it does need to be heard. And sometimes, the bravest thing we can do is say the words while we still can. This is not a story about loss. It is a story about love learning to speak before it's too late.